All right, everybody, welcome to the Mid-States Poker Tour Michigan State Poker Championship here at FireKeepers Casino. Excited to be here with my sidekick, as always. Wow, look at these hands. Disco Chad Holloway, I'm sorry. Chad Holloway, bracelet winner Chad Holloway.
I was getting all excited to, do the intro, and then all of a sudden these hands pop up,
Yeah.
and it's like
I'm trying to introduce him, and he's like pointing at the screen, all excited.
look at this, though. We got queens, aces, fours, pocket nines. This is going to be a really interesting hand to kick off this record-breaking tournament.
We might not even get to introduce these players before we lose two of them. And I expect fireworks early because, Chad, we are getting to the final table here at 10:30 p.m., the latest we've ever arrived at a final table, and that is because there have been so many double-ups throughout the afternoon and the early evening that it's been difficult to eliminate anybody. So they're actually playing about as short as they'll ever play here at this final table. Roughly 20 big average with 10 remaining. So we'll see what happens here. So there is a couple of really deep stacks, but for the most part, 7 or 8 of them got some work to do, and we're going to see it here.
Yeah, it's funny because the guys who have these big pocket pairs here, for the most part, are the big stacks. You see Peluge, how do I pronounce that? Pelujai. He's got the pocket fours. He's the shorter stack of the remaining players. And he's just going to call. So now we're on right.
Yeah, that's Johnny Pelujai out of Oakland, Michigan, who just made the call with pocket fours in the 1 seat. And now we're on to the 2 seat. Spencer Wright out of Jeddo, Michigan. And he doesn't know it, but he's going to be in big trouble because he's, of course, going to pump this with queens. This might save Hale here with the raise, a call, a re-raise. Hale in the 8 seat might be able to get rid of these 9s, especially with the 2.2 million stack. Our chip leader already made a raise with aces.
Now, Myers might look familiar to those of you who tune into MSPT broadcasts. He was at the final table the last time we were here at FireKeepers, which was back in May. We'll get into some numbers in a little bit here after this hand, but he's made back-to-back final tables at the 2 largest tournaments in Michigan State history. So
unbelievable.
And here he has pocket aces. So I think you're right. If he ends up putting in the 4-bet here, Hale will get away from his 9s.
Yeah, and that's going to
the 4s will ditch, and then action will be back on right, and he'll be in a tough spot.
And I haven't had an opportunity to look at a lot of these stacks, but we'll see if Wright can get away from these queens or not, getting 4-bet jammed on by Chris Myers in the 5 seat.
It's going to be tough. He's committed more than
half his stack.
More than a third of his stack.
Yep.
But just the way the hand plays out, the chip leader's putting pressure. It could look
suspicious. First hand of the final table. It's a tough spot.
And there it is.
Yeah.
It's definitely a tough spot. You can't blame him too much. A bit of a cooler here for him. You see him throws up his arms, looks towards his rail. He's going to need a lady here.
6-10-4 on the flop.
A little bit of delay here on the flop. There it is. You see Johnny would have had a set of 4s had he somehow gotten in there. So it's down to 2 outs, a queen on the river, and it's not there. So in the first hand of this final table, we are going to lose Spencer Wright, who came into the final table, with 2.2 million. It's certainly not one of the shorter stacks. It busts to the chip leader.
Yeah, and that's going to give Chris Myers over 7 million. Unbelievable. But congratulations to Spencer Wright out of Jeddo, Michigan. This final table didn't go as he was hoping after that dinner break, but this is his first MSPT cash, and he's going to walk away with $14,468. As you can see there in the right-hand column, we're already into some pretty big money, Chad. Almost $15K for that 10th place cash.
And you see there Myers extends his chip lead. Starting the final table, Myers had the big stack. Wright came in the 4th biggest stack. So he just absorbed those chips into his pile, and it's going to give him a little more freedom to apply some pressure to these shorter stacks. It looks like no huge hands here, so a good opportunity to tell the viewers a little bit about this tournament. So when we were here in the spring, we drew 1,066 runners, which was just incredible. It was our largest ever MSPT event outside of Las Vegas, over $1 million prize pool. It was just, an incredible turnout. We managed to surpass it in the 2017 Michigan State Poker Championship, though it was only by one player. It was one player. We have 1,067 entrants in this tournament. So a new Michigan State record for both largest turnout and largest prize pool.
Back-to-back 1 million plus prize pools.
It's really incredible what, just in Michigan. It's crazy to me that such a great tournament is being held. And I think that's a testament to not only our MSPT players, but to the staff here at FireKeepers, which is really second to none.
100%. And Chad, as you know, as we were here this week and this weekend, I mean, the number of compliments that we received regarding the staff here at FireKeepers and how great of a job they do. And to be honest with you, they really buy into this. For 2 months, they've been running satellites for players to get an opportunity to get into this massive event. And you're right, Chad. I mean, they do a fantastic job. This is one of the few places in the country that has doubled the size of their card room in the last couple of years. They really invest in it. They really market this room. And again, that's why it is now the largest and best poker room in Michigan.
Yeah, there was quite a few players who came here for the first time. I know Blake Bond was one of them.
Yeah.
He even tweeted about his experience and how much he was enjoying it. And I told the poker room manager, I said, that's a high compliment, you know. Blake...
he doesn't just throw those compliments around.
Right, yeah. Blake would be more prone to criticize than give you a compliment. So if you're getting a compliment, you know you're doing something right. And there's others. Brian Reinert there in the white hat at this final table. He... is at FireKeepers for the first time. Same sort of thing that Blake had to say. Just great staff, having a great experience, and it's just that's what we hear. You don't really hear any complaints when you're at FireKeepers because
Yeah, and I'm sure as we go, we'll have 1,000 great things to say because we really enjoy coming here. I mean, the new tap house we can talk about. The hotel's phenomenal, and we'll talk about some of those things.
The only thing that's been bad is the weather. The weather's been like raining.
Raining though, we can live with that. That's actually great to go indoors and play poker.
Interesting flop here, picking it up on the flop. Is it Delisle?
Yep.
I should have asked you how to pronounce these names before I said
I don't even necessarily know, but
Delisle with
Jerry Delisle out of Hazel Park, Michigan.
But it's Santa
Zawidai
leading out with she's flopped 5s and 9s.
Yeah, she's a tough competitor.
And this is a limped pot. Delisle checked his option.
4 raises at 300.
I like the raise here.
And there, yep, it's gonna. And you can't really blame Santa there. She's one of the shorter stacks. She's up against a player with a big stack. Thinks maybe he's putting some pressure on her. She is going to need to go runner here. A club would be her best shot.
So on hand number 3, we got 9-6 in against 10-5.
And
a 5-9-9 flop.
And that's going to do it. She's drawing dead. She needed to pick up some outs. She doesn't. Delisle improves to 9s full of kings. And we are going to lose the last woman standing in the Michigan State Poker Championship.
Yeah, congratulations to Santa. What a great run. She's going to walk away with a healthy payday herself. $18,603 for that 9th place finish. Congratulations to her. Santa out of Birmingham, Michigan. She's a pharmacist. This is her largest career score. She's had a couple of great scores in the past, even in Vegas, but this will be her largest career score. She's got 4 children and 20 grandchildren.
20 grandchildren, and no doubt going to be proud of her.
They were probably in bed anyways before this final table, so they probably they didn't get to watch her. But congratulations to her. This is her first MSPT cash, and once again taking home just shy of $19,000.
We finished tonight, right? You might be done in an orbit.
Players are right. We're on hand number 4. We lost 2 players in the first 3 hands.
6 holds.
Well, we haven't gotten to do intros yet, Chad.
I know, yeah. The action's been too good.
We will get there.
8 holds. 9 raises at 200.
So Brian Reinert raises it up with his deuces. I didn't see the name of the player, but the other 2 deuces were folded. Somebody else had the pocket pair of ducks, but let him go from early position. I imagine this is going to fold around to Myers, who will probably peel a flop with a suited connectors from the big blind. He's got the big stack. These are the sort of hands that when you have chips to splash around with and see flops that you want to at least see what comes. in the first 3 cards.
We've got some piles out there now. Chris Myers over 7 million. Delisle now over 5 million. When you have over 1,000 players, I don't think I've ever had chips in the millions, unfortunately.
So you see, Reiner actually only has a 30% chance, knowing that if his opponent improves, there's no deuces to redraw on. And there it is. Myers flops a pair of 5s. Reiner still drawing live. He can go runner, runner straight, runner, runner flush.
So Reinert is going to bet. Myers with second pair, has to contemplate his action.
I think if I'm in his shoes, I'm going to put in a raise here, feel out my opponent a little bit, and find out where I stand. It looks like he might just call.
Call.
And he does.
And there's another spade for Reinert. That's a good card. He only had a 6% chance of winning. Went up to 19. He needs a spade. It's not there. Pairs of the 7s. So Myers probably figures he's good. I think he's going to toss out a bet here. Somewhere around 350 maybe? No, he's going to check it. And he'll go check, check. Reinert's got showdown value.
7s and 5s.
I would have liked to seen a bet from Myers there, but he's content to take it to showdown, and he's going to win the pot and extend that chip lead.
Once again, Brian Molesky, Chad Holloway here at FireKeepers Casino, Battle Creek, Michigan. Over 1,000 runners. You can see it right there. First place, over 191,000. It's a heck of a payday. And we're down to our final 8, folks. Let's the best that we can here. Let's try to quickly go around the table. At the 1 seat, Johnny Peluge out of Oakland, Michigan. He's a logistic analyst. His second MSPT cash. He had a previous 13th place finish here at FireKeepers as well. In the 4 seat, Jerry Delisle out of Hazel Park, Michigan. This is his first MSPT cash. In the 5 seat, our current chip leader out of Buffalo, New York, Chris Myers. As we mentioned, he's got over 7.6 million in chips now. This is his second MSPT cash, his second final table. As Chad mentioned, his previous cash was a 5th place finish here in May at the same location for $42,000. In the 6th seat, Al Motawala out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. His second MSPT cash. He also placed 25th in May for $6,000. In the 7th seat, James Miller out of West Olive, Michigan, the restaurant owner. This is his first MSPT cash. In the 8th seat, Millard Hale out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, his first MSPT cash. In the 9th seat, Brian Reinert out of Atlanta, Georgia,
6 folds.
business owner, poker player, his first MSPT cash. A lot of first-time cashers here, considering we've been coming to Michigan 4 or 5 years, and that's because a lot of people are starting to catch on to it, I think. In the 10th seat, Jake the Snake Reeser out of Davidson, Michigan. Landscaper, his first MSPT cash. A lot of Michigan players here at this final table. Usually there's a little bit more of a mix. We do get, since we get so many players from out state that travel in for this one. So props to the Michigan players for holding fort here in the Michigan State Poker Championship.
I can talk a little bit about the players from the Midwest who traveled here and had some success. For instance, one of the biggest stories for us was Mike Shanahan. Finished 18th. He's from Indiana. If that name sounds familiar, he was the one who won in May. The same final table that Myers was at. Mike Shanahan took it down for over $200,000. That's the one that Aaron Massey finished runner-up in. And so another great run by Mike Shanahan. He actually earned 700 Player of the Year points for finishing in 18th place, which puts him second on the Kimosabi Mezcal MSPT Season 8 Player of the Year leaderboard. He's got 2,700 points, just behind Keith Heine, who has 2,967 points. So I think we're going to see Mike a little bit more in the coming stops. He's so close to that coveted Player of the Year title. I think he'll give it a go. And, depending on how Myers does here, he's going to be right in the thick of it as well. So Shanahan was the last player from Indiana in the field. We also had Michael Campbell travel all the way from South Dakota. It was pretty fun watching him today. He was short, built up a stack, took a really bad beat, ended up busting in 21st place for almost $8,500. And then the last player from my home state, Wisconsin, was Mike Shin. He busted in 26th place for almost $6K. Mike Shin, you might recognize from the 2016 World Series of Poker main event broadcast on ESPN. He just missed out on making the November 9 that year. He busted in 12th place to Kui Win, who ended up going on to win the tournament. It was a huge pot. Had Mike Shin won that, he could have very well been the world champion, but instead, he was out in 12th, and the last player from Wisconsin standing in this tournament. And then I know one of your favorite guys, Brian, in 27th place, Pat Steele.
Yeah, Pat's awesome. I've gotten to know Pat just a little bit through, he was Player of the Year just a few years back here on the MSPT, and so he's come to a large number of events. And a couple years ago, he took me to the Michigan State game on Saturday here in Michigan while this MSPT event was going on. The one where Michigan fumbled the punt and was returned the other way by Michigan State, and that dramatic finish. Pat Steele and I had good seats and were at that game. And definitely pulling for Pat Steele to make a big run here today. And he did, pretty good run, but fell a little short of his goal of winning the MSPT event.
And I'll butcher this name, I'm sure, but the last player from Minnesota, because I know we got a lot of Minnesota fans out there, was Mike Jusax?
Out of Zimmerman, Minnesota?
Yep.
Yeah.
He finished 33rd for a little over $4,500. So good representation from the Midwest crowd. But yeah, like you look over the results page on msptpoker.com, where you can also scroll back, read the updates from this tournament. You look at the results of the 108 players who were paid, and it's a large representation from players from Michigan. They really came out for this, the championship of their home state.
So now James Miller out of West Olive, Michigan, involved in the spot here. He's pretty short, down to 3 to 4 big blinds. So he's looking for. Got to see what's going on here. I got to lean around, and so Hale, of course, with the flush, leaves Miller in big trouble. He needs runner hearts for the chop. And he's going to get away with it, but that leaves him with just 300 chips. James Miller plays a few times a month, has 5 kids, 3 grandkids, 1 on the way, and is a Star Wars fan. And I got to agree with him on this one. I'm looking forward to the Star Wars movie coming out soon. You a Star Wars fan?
I am, actually. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was big into it, collected the toys. Quick funny story about it, though. I decided to sell the toys, and my mom was going to my aunt's garage sale, and so I gave her all these toys to sell. And I gave her this old C-3PO case, that held the figures. And I was selling the case for $3 because it was really damaged. But inside were a couple dozen, 3 dozen, 4 dozen of the individual Star Wars figures, the old ones.
Yep.
And those were worth, I don't know, $5 to $20 a piece or whatever. And so it was chock full. Well, somebody at the garage sale grabbed the case, walked up to her and said, "Look, the case is for sale for $3." And gave her $3, and she took it, not knowing that it was filled with
$3
with all the other items, and they left. And I was devastated because I was a kid at the time, and I was just crushed. I couldn't believe it.
They took advantage of her?
Yeah, they took advantage of my mother, and it just and she felt terrible, and it was just somebody out there obviously got a great deal.
So if you're listening and know who this person is, who got this basket full of Star Wars toys.
Oh yeah, I'll reward you
by ripping off, Chad's mom. Let us know, and we'll 600. Do nothing, but sounded cool.
Interesting hand here. Delisle, from early position with Jack Deuce Hearts, says why not? Raises it to 230,000. Myers, the other big stack, 3-bets it, and he's gonna take it down, I imagine. If not, we might see a 4-bet with Jack Deuce of Hearts. He's going to let it go. That's why I don't like doing raising with hands like that in early position. Because if you get popped, then you're just going to have to fold it and give it away.
1,067 runners. We're down to the final 8, all guaranteed, just shy of 23,000. There's your chip counts. Myers up top. Delisle a little ways behind. Miller in big trouble, and Peluja also in trouble. But, of course, is likely... He's in a tough spot because he's got to wait for Miller to bust. It's a 7K pay jump.
But don't count him out yet. Anything can happen. We've learned that today. Yeah, evidenced by the Miami Dolphins winning and the Minnesota Vikings winning, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Anything can happen.
Rodgers out. The Giants are destroying the Broncos last time I checked.
One fold.
The Jets actually kept pace with the Patriots there for a while.
Opposed to walks.
And by the way, we better mention Thomas the dealer. He is fantastic. And, I mean, his mustache and beard are second to none. Unbelievable. How do you... Here's my question, because I can hardly grow facial hair.
6.
How do you get to the point that you know you can do that?
That's...
Chad, you can't because yours doesn't look anything as good as... No, I mean,
know, right?
This is going to sound offensive. I'm not going to say no offense because I kind of do mean this to be offensive. But, I mean... The perfection that Thomas has going on right now.
Yeah, mine will never be that way. Mine is mine's just sloppy. And I'm actually going to be shaving for my Halloween costume this year. So I'm going to let it go wild for the next 2 weeks. But yeah, I'll be clean shaven come Halloween. You'll be able to see my costume on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. Very excited about
Chad goes all out. Last year, what was your costume last year?
I was Varys from Game of Thrones, who, if you watch Game of Thrones, he's the eunuch. The bald-headed guy, wears the big robes. They call him Spider. You know, I think he's a good guy in that show as far as good guys go in the show. But yeah, it was a big hit. People loved it, and I shaved my head for it, which I've never had a shaved head in my life, and I was really, was really nervous shaving your head, but my hair grew back pretty quick.
So the point is Chad goes all out for Halloween, and if you want to see his upcoming costume, you can follow him on, because I'm sure he'll post photos on Chad A. Holloway on Twitter. Chad A. Holloway.
So it looks like action's going to fold to Reinert on the button. He's got 10 jack suited, going to pop it up. Little does he know, Reeser in the small blind, big slick. I imagine he's just going to jam it. He's out of position. There he goes. Not a good spot for Reinert. You know you're behind. Peluja in the big, I guess asking for a count. You know how we hate asking for a count before you look at your cards, but if Reinert comes along here, it's just on a pure gamble. He knows that he's behind. He'd be hoping that he's got, 2 live cards. Jack 10 does draw well against hands like Ace King. You can see the percentages there. 41%, 59%, but I don't think he's going to do it. Reinert's actually one of the more accomplished players at this final table. He finished third in the WPT Best Bet Jacksonville Bounty Scramble a couple years ago for what was it? $182,000.
Yep, $182,000. He's got over $500,000 lifetime earnings.
I'll tell you a good story about Reinert. I know him a little bit from the poker circuit over the years. He is only playing this event for one reason, because he was in Detroit to launch his. He owns a wine company.
Yep.
And he was launching his wine into Michigan. So he was in Detroit, decided to come over here and play, and obviously it's turned into a good decision. We chatted a little bit while he's been here, and unfortunately he's been affected, his wine business has, by the California wildfires.
Oh, yeah.
He was leasing land out there, and the fires wiped out all the grapes and stuff, so he's going to have to go and deal with some business after this this tournament's over.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It says here he's got 2 WSOP C rings as well.
Yeah,
Couple circuit rings.
him and Nancy Birnbaum, they used to travel the circuit, full time. That used to be what they did, and I didn't remember offhand until we got to chatting this weekend. When I won my bracelet in 2013, Reinert was there because Nancy Birnbaum was the woman who backed me in it. So she had half my action, and she was on the rail, obviously cheering me along, and he was right there with her because they're really good friends, and it jogged my memory, and I do remember meeting him there, and he's a good guy. She's a great woman, and they both got poker chops, and he's showing his off here. He actually said too he had some health issues that made him take a little break from poker. I don't remember how long it was, but he came back, just started playing within the last month or so, and is now 3 for 3 in cashing tournaments that he's played.
Seems to be playing all right. Jake the Snake Reeser with Ace Queen.
So Myers, the big stack, had raised under the gun 225 with Queen 9. Another big ace for Reeser, and he's going to just shove it. Can't blame him at this point. Yeah, there's plenty of chips in the pot. Swiping down the blinds, antes, and a raise adds to your stack considerably.
He is jamming into a substantial chip leader here, but he is going to get Myers to fold, and Reeser is going to pick up that pot. There you see it. The blinds are 50,000, 100,000, 10K ante.
Miller and Peluge. Peluge. I don't know. I apologize if I'm butchering that. My phonetics are not good. Matawala. I can say Matawala.
Let's call him Johnny.
6 folds.
That's a lot easier for me to remember.
7. 8, 9.
You can probably hear in the background there's still several cash games going on late on a Sunday evening. Chad, I know you got to play a little bit of the PLO here this weekend, but they had a great game. I think they had a 10-25 PLO going too, did they not?
Yeah, I was really impressed when I heard that they had a full list for the 10-25, and I don't know if it got off the ground or went, but the fact that they had a full list for it, that was just crazy to me. Like, where else can you play 10-25 right now in the entire country? Like Vegas, maybe somewhere in Florida,
California maybe, but certainly it's tough to find in the Midwest.
Right, and so that's a big game. Any PLO aficionados out there might want to consider coming up to FireKeepers during the MSBT time because the cash games can be juicy as well. So Delisle here raised from the small blind. Myers, the big stack, calls.
That's 250.
Delisle going to posture at it, take another stab, but Myers has flopped middle pair with a solid kicker. These are the two big stacks. It's an interesting, line by Delisle, getting mixed up with the one guy at the table who can bust you.
On his left, yeah. But he's going to keep firing, and he's not really hesitating either. I like guys with heart. He's not afraid to go after the chip leader. You hear the people in the background responding to the football game, I would assume. Something's happening. We can't see it back here.
Delisle earlier in the tournament with about 2 tables left made a big call, and before he did, he said, I came here to win. I think he got it in with called a big call with jacks against ace king, and he held, and was rewarded for it. So he's not afraid to mix it up. He wants to win this tournament. He's not looking to ladder up.
Yeah, and Myers sniffing it out, and Delisle much slower this time, and he's going to check, and he's going to have to give up now.
It's a shame he didn't fire one more bullet at it because he might, that ace is a scary card.
Yeah.
A 600, 700,000 bet on the river there might have gotten the job done.
He earned a reputation there, though, and he had to show that 4-3 after firing the flop and the turn. He might have to tighten up a little bit, but if he gets a hand, he's going to get paid.
It's an important pot right there, too, because now Myers has a more than 2-1 chip lead over Delisle.
Over the second stack.
Yeah, and there you'll see it right there. He's, he can mix it up with any of these players now and still, you know, not be in fear of losing that chip lead.
Yeah, and Miller and Pelujai, both what I'd classify as desperation mode here. More so Miller. Extremely short.
Yeah, it's this hand or next because the blind is about to hit him. He's under the gun, queen deuce. If it's me, I'm going to fold it and just take my chances.
That's a tough spot to pick up the queen deuce. So there's a lot of hands you'd just play any two cards there, but that's probably not one of them.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and he's going to be glad he did hail here. Pocket queens. I expect he's going to raise it.
Millard Hale out of Kalamazoo, over 600 in current lifetime tournament earnings. He has had a 70K score for a circuit ring in 2012.
Yeah, he's actually one of the players from this final table that I've heard of before or had experience with. You know, there's Myers, of course, from earlier this year. He was at the final table. Ryan Reinert I've had experience with, as I mentioned, and Millard Hale was the other one whose name I've heard plenty of times in the poker world. And his raise is going to take it here.
Yeah, he's not going to get much action. Motowalla, who hasn't had much to work with yet in the big blind, ace-5, decides not to play. And we'll move on to hand 14 of this final table. We're down to 8. As I mentioned earlier, all guaranteed just shy of 23K, but of course chasing the 191K up top.
This is going to be it for Miller. He's got 240,000 left. 100 of that is going in from the big blind. 10 of it's going in for the ante, so he's got about half his stack committed. He should not be folding any cards right here. He shouldn't even look. No matter what the action is in front of him, you know, he's got to get those chips in. Unless if it's limp to him, yeah, maybe he'll flop there. But, you know, assuming there's action in front of him, and when it gets to him, he's just got to put it in. The only exception, I guess, would be if, you know, action really explodes in front of him and some other players get all in and he has an opportunity to ladder up. Then it might be worth a fold just to try to realize that equity. But as it is, Hale, Millard Hale, under the gun, ace-king, 225. Should fold to Miller in the big. And I don't know if he's looked at him. I think he's put him on his sensor there, and he knows what the score is here. I'll tell you what, though, he would have much rather have gotten it in against one opponent than two. He's right. He doesn't not like it. You're never excited to get it in there with a 10-5 offsuit. But given the circumstances, that's absolutely the right move, in my opinion. It'll be interesting. A lot on the line for Miller as far as the side action here. Motowalla has him dominated, has his 10 covered. But if somehow Motowalla folds to Hale,
it's 230,000.
Miller's chances could improve. Let's see what the flop brings.
He went all in for 230.
So Miller actually flops the best of it. Queens and 5s. The other two check it. Ooh, and there's the ace. Miller's hope's not out yet, though. He's got the heart.
He's got the heart draw.
He's got the only heart. So
Hale in the 8 seat is gonna bet out, and he's gonna get Motowalla to fold.
So 7 outs. You can see it there. Any 5 or heart.
And
Miller would triple up.
Can he stay alive? No.
He pairs the 10, but that doesn't do him any good.
Good luck, guys.
Hale, aces and queens, 2 pair.
So unfortunately, we're going to lose James Miller out of West Olive, Michigan, his first MSPT cash. But he's going to go out with a nice payday, $22,737. Congrats to him. And everybody moves up one spot. We now have 7 remaining, all guaranteed just shy of 30K.
The 10 of diamonds is where he had a heart, but he didn't get it. Three hearts. 3 hearts. 10 of diamonds.
Matt Wynn puts Hale up to the 3 million chip mark, third in chips. So hand 15, and we are already down 3 players.
9 folds. All in.
Johnny looks down at an ace 6, maybe just the ace. I know when I'm short and I look down at just the ace, I say I'm going with it. It looks like he's going to get it through.
Doesn't matter.
Ten folds. One fold. Raise. 240. Five, 6 fold.
Oh, he hit the straight.
He overshoved aces on the flop.
Yeah, he overshoved and the guy hit the gutter on the river.
No, he had top pair and it was running gutter.
And
It was
raise.
still sick. He gave him a set of kings too. Right? King. Yeah, it was gross.
It worked out for me.
Yeah, he did. So did the 10s versus queens, right?
I seen him make the same play with 7s, so
Yeah.
One folds. 4.
Brian Molesky, Disco Chad Holloway here at FireKeepers Casino. Down to 7. And Myers with a
Five
hefty
raise.
chip lead. And now Ace Queen is going to pop it
6
to
folds.
225. As we suspected, Chad, because it took us a long time to get to this final table. Nobody really busted for a long while, meaning the stacks got shorter than usual to get to this point, and that's why we've seen the early action here at this final table, and I would expect it to level out as the average stack catches up to the blinds here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what tournament poker is
That's why the blinds go up.
yeah, it's that's why there are levels and blinds, and they go up. It eventually forces the action. So if there's a stalemate where people aren't busting, and we had that at the final 2 tables, even the final 3 tables, I bet you for a good 2 hours there, maybe more, 80% of the all-ins, the short stack was doubling.
Yeah.
It was pretty insane. And so
Even on the bubble today, we had 6 consecutive doubles
Right.
without anybody busting.
And so, yeah, people just weren't busting, and when that happens, the longer they stay alive, the further they make it into the structure, and then the blinds and antes go and eventually catch up and force the action like it's going to in this hand. Hale in the cutoff is going to raise with 10s. Johnny in the big blind, the short stack with 9s, is going to get it in, and he's going to be dominated.
It's the only Kessler-approved structure, chainsaw-approved structure in the country.
And if anybody knows, Alan Kessler, he's nitpicky about structures. He'll rip you a new one, but He did a great job in designing the MSPT structure.
Pelujai in a tough spot here in the 1 seat. Hale shoved all in, 2.8 million.
I
With
mean,
the 555K stack, I think he's going to have to call.
my chips would have been in already. You're
Yeah.
not super thrilled about it, but you're not going to fold that hand as a short stack. So Johnny's going to need a little luck. I see. It looks like it's either a 9 or a 10. We'll see what it registers on the flop. There it is. He hits his set.
Now the rolls are reversed, and Hale has a.
Oh! They were reversed, and they've reversed right back.
Wow.
This is fancy.
So, wow.
And I think that's it, because I think the other 9 is gone.
Oh my lord.
It didn't
So-
come if it wasn't. So, wow.
That's just
What a hand.
Wow. So we are going to lose Johnny Pelujai out of Oakland, Michigan here in 7th place for $29,971. Congrats to Johnny. I mean, tough spot. He had to get it in there with the 9s. Got lucky on the flop. Might have been his 1-outer. And Hale right back with the 2-outer on the turn.
That's like in football where your team's behind, they score the touchdown, you're so excited, you think you're going to tie it to go to overtime, and then they miss the extra point.
With 23 seconds left, and Tom Brady drives the field. I couldn't say Aaron Rodgers because he's out now for the season.
You know, I know that as a Vikings fan, that just makes you
Oh,
excited.
it's terrible. Terrible. He was on my fantasy team.
It happens.
So hand number 19, down to 6 players.
Don't worry, it's going to level out a little bit and slow down.
Well, if Myers keeps building on that chip stat, or
That's
that
a-
chip lead, you know, it could tilt.
That's a great point. Down to 6. Everybody's guaranteed over 38,000. It's much more fun to watch, though, when it's action-packed like this. I'll tell you that.
I think,
Chad, you and I have seen some 2-3 hour heads up and 3-man battles, though.
and if this one comes, the way it's shaping up right now, you know, you got Delisle, Myers, and Hale have the big stacks. Delisle so far has shown a panache to gamble, makes the moves that most people would advise against. So if he continues to do that and that comes back to bite him, if Myers or Hale can take advantage of that, you know, I could easily see those 2 players making it to heads-up play, and if they do, could be one of those extended heads-up battles because they're great players. They're not going to make many mistakes. But, of course, I don't want to count out anybody else because the cards can change anything. Another flop set, this time Jake Reeser.
Yeah, and Reeser needs it more so than Myers, but I don't know if Myers got enough of this
Yeah, I imagine
to
he's
stick around, but he is going to fire a bullet at it.
Yeah, he's going to put out the continuation bet, as he should. Now, if I'm in Reeser's spot, I think I'd just flat here.
I agree.
You know, you're hoping your opponent has an ace.
You're hoping to double up here. You flop the set.
All in.
Okay.
He's going to shove it.
And Myers will probably fold relatively quickly, and he does.
And that's an easy fold for Myers. He didn't have anything, and Reeser might not, you know, probably wouldn't have gotten any more chips out of the pot. But the point is, you got to give your opponent a little rope to hang himself.
Yep.
And even if he had an ace there, by moving all in, you give him a perfect opportunity to just get out of the hand, you know, losing the minimum. But
And now you can see, I mean, we only have one player, Reinert, who's nearing the danger zone there. Everybody else with a little room to work, and of course Myers with a substantial stack over, what do you have, about 85 bigs?
and Reinert's not going to be. Reinert's not the type of player. He's not going to, you know, blind down to 2 or 3 big blinds. He's going to get it in here sooner than later.
Yep.
He just wants to look down at a little something.
6-4.
Heck, this ace-4 might be good enough for him if it folds to him. And there
Yep.
it is.
There it is.
How much is it?
Reeser has the ace-10, which has him crushed, but he's got 2 opponents in the blinds behind him. He just got some, he's been chipping up nicely, just got those chips. Does he want to risk it by putting in 990,000?
Yeah, it's a tough spot. Ace 10 six-handed, a pretty strong holding, but it's a big chunk of his stack.
He gives the old, you give me this one, I'll let you get the next one speech, and it's going to work.
Yeah, Reinert is going to pick it up here.
He shows just the ace.
Here's what we got. We got Jerry Delisle out of Hazel Park, Michigan. Chris Myers out of Buffalo, New York, your current chip leader. Al Motawala out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Millard Hale out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. By the way, Kalamazoo is like 20 minutes from Battle Creek here. Brian Reinert out of Atlanta, Georgia. And Jake the Snake Reeser out of Davison, Michigan. It's been an exciting final table so far. I'm sure we've got a ways to go. Hand number 21. And we've had final tables go over 200 hands. So, just getting started. But Reiner now picking up ace 10. And he's going to jam 1.2 million, and I think that's going to get through.
So another thing we did different for this time around is our Thursday flight. We started at noon as opposed to
4 o'clock.
Yeah, 4 o'clock, which I really enjoyed. I've gotten more sleep because of the starting at noon, but we might change that moving forward too. With such large fields, might have to squeeze in an extra level or two in these starting flights.
Yeah, that's what we're finding. I mean, these fields are getting so large here in Michigan. We moved it up to the Thursday flight up to noon this time to accommodate their cash games a little bit late in the day. And, generally our tour runs 4 o'clock flights, and that's primarily because we are, designed for your standard recreational player who has a daytime job, and they can work a full day, still get there by 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and have plenty of chips. So that's usually why we start at 4 o'clock. But of course, in scenarios like this where the fields are just so large, we had 30 tables to work with. They do a fantastic job of getting us as many tables and staff members as needed to host the event. But of course, when we do run 30 tables of a tournament here at this location, it does cut into their cash games in the evenings. So we try to balance that as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the tournament was full on days 1B and 1C. Just every tournament, every table was used for the tournament. But when players started to bust and they had the space, as soon as that table was free, it was a cash game. Like, people were waiting. It's just, there's a hunger for poker here at FireKeepers, and it's awesome. I like
it's pretty cool. And a lot of great players out this way too.
Oh yeah, I mean, just let alone the players that we play the MSPT, but Michigan is also home to 2 WSOP champs
in just recent years, right?
Yeah, Ryan Reese in 2013 and Joe Cotta in 2009, both of whom I believe have come here to FireKeepers to play the MSPT. I know Joe Cotta has for sure.
Yep, Ryan Reese has as well.
Yeah, so both of them have come and checked. Neither were here this weekend.
2009 and 2013.
Yeah.
That seems like it was yesterday, and that's how old we're getting. I swear to God, it feels like Reese just won it like 2 years ago, but I guess it has been 4. Ace 10. Everybody gets a shot at Ace 10 here at this table.
All in.
And that shove is going to take it down.
There you see it. 7 minutes left in this level. 1,067 players down to 6. Round 30. These players started at 11 a.m. this morning, day 2. So they've been playing for what, darn near, it's been a little over 12 hours. Just on day 2, some of these players, I'm not sure which of these players came through which flight, but I assume a couple of them probably survived Saturday. So they played, close to 11 hours yesterday as well to reach this point. So close to 23 plus hours of poker to get to the final 6.
4 folds.
There were a few players here this weekend too that kind of known throughout the poker world. Kenna James is one who rose to prominence during the poker boom. He's done a lot of poker commentating. He lives in Vegas. He plays every day in Vegas, but he has family in Michigan, so he times it that he comes visits family so he can play this event. So this was the second year in a row that he's done that. He wasn't able to make it through on day 1C, unfortunately, busted right at the end of the night, but he was there. A couple WSOP bracelet winners were here. Jean Gaspard, Prince, Aaron Stoury was here.
How about Ralph Massey? Another nice run.
Aaron Massey.
Or I'm sorry, Aaron Massey.
Well, it was okay. So he was very disappointed because the thing with Aaron Massey is he didn't cash today. He made it to day 2.
I was thinking he did cash, got in the money, but
he fell just short of the money. But we were all rooting for him because he had an incredible streak going. He had final tabled the last 3 MSPT FireKeepers, which is just all 3 of them at the time set the record for largest ever tournament held in Michigan. So he final tabled the 3 largest, tournaments ever in Michigan.
The first one was what, like 880 or something like that, 880 runners,
right.
Then 1,066, then 1,067.
Yeah,
so making 3 final tables on those 3 events is unbelievable.
With that many players, and he won one of the events.
Yep.
So that was last season he won one, and then in last year's Michigan State Poker Championship he finished in 7th. And then he returned this spring and finished, as I mentioned earlier, runner-up to Mike Shanahan.
Yeah,
unbelievable. Almost won it again, and it was just incredible. So we thought, could he possibly make?
Had a nice stack heading into day 2.
Yeah, he bagged on day 1A, so we were all excited for the whole weekend to see him come back. But like poker, bad beats, and that's what happened to him. He suffered a bad beat. I think a guy hit runner straight on him or something like that, and he was disappointed, but. Still great, great. One of the, without a doubt, one of the tour's, best performances ever.
Yep. How about Kevin Saul?
Yeah, Kevin Saul, WPT champ. He came at the behest of Aaron Massey, and they're friends. They travel a lot together. He's like, dude, you got to come up and play this tournament.
Most probably know him from his online screen name, right?
Yeah,
below above.
Below above, yeah. So interesting hand here. Hale raised to 225 from the cutoff. Reinert on the button, jams it. Hale doesn't know it, but he wants to call because he has Reinert crushed. Reinert's probably... Oh, and there he does. Reinert's not going to like it. Hale's going to love it. Reinert's a more than 2-to-1 dog here. He's going to need some help. Looking for a jack or some spades. No jack there, no spades there. He's going to need a fish hook, 3 outs. And that's not it.
No, but he does pick up some more outs.
He picks up some chopportunities. A 7 or a 4 would result in a chop pot. It's not there. It's a deuce.
So we're going to lose a good guy in the sixth spot. Brian Reinert out of Atlanta, Georgia, his first MSPT cash. He's going to take home $38,239. Congrats to Reinert. Moving along here, Chad. So it took us a long time to get here, but it's been action-packed since.
And you know what? The blinds and antes are about to go up. And I say it every broadcast. These antes are going to double. And when that happens, it forces the action even more.
Yeah, this is when it gets fun. But as you can see there, everybody's got some room to work right now.
Yeah, they're a little more deep now.
Well, best of luck to Brian Reinert with his with the wine business, with the California fires going on. Hopefully that works out okay.
That's what it's all about. You gotta have a good feeling.
I don't know if that matters a ton in reality.
We're down to 5 and some serious change. 49,607 guaranteed to all 5 players, but of course chasing the 191,000 up top.
4 folds.
Just like that, down to 5. And for those that are new to the MSPT, we do record these, and you can find any of our Final Table broadcasts on demand on msptpoker.com. And of course, we do keep stats for just about every statistical category you can think of. Player of the Year stat, the Kimosabi Mezcal Player of the Year stats are also, and we should probably get into that because one of the players made a pretty deep run here today and moved into second place. Chad will pull up that list momentarily, but MSPTpoker.com if you want to check out any of the stats, most career cashes, most career earnings, season Player of the Year stats, so on and so forth. MSPTpoker.com. Chad, do you got the top 10 here so far for the, once again, Kimosabi Mezcal Player of the Year leaderboard?
I do. So Keith Heine has been in the lead for a while. Still in the lead, 2,967 points. He was here this weekend. Unfortunately, couldn't get anything going. Didn't bag on day one. So he is going home empty-handed as far as the points go. And I spoke with Keith a little bit over the weekend, and he's in it to win it. He'll be at 3 of the next 4 stops. I mean, he's going to try to win this title, but...
And by the way, Myers applying pressure to Reeser here.
He's going to win it here.
Take it down.
So okay. The gentleman you mentioned, we talked a little bit earlier, is Mike Shanahan. He won the MSPT FireKeepers back in the spring, finished 18th today. So he's got 2,700 points. And that's right on Heine's tail. And I talked to Shanahan as he was cashing out, and he got a little bit of a smile on his face, and it sounds like he's going to be coming to a few more stops, trying to compete for it. But then not far behind with 2,500 points, Keith Block.
Yeah.
Keith is also in it to win it. He couldn't be here this weekend. He had prior plans, but he's planning to come to some other stops. Jason Ramos, he won the MSPT 100 at Meskwaki Casino. That was the 100th ever main event from the MSPT. He is in 4th with 2,250. And then in 5th place, Big Al Heaton, who's actually here tonight watching this final table. He didn't bag on day 1A either, so he's going to leave here with what he came in with, 2,100 points. So all those guys are well in the thick of it. And then whoever wins here today is going to get 1,900 points, automatically be in.
Yeah, because it's such a huge event.
Right, and let me actually do a little quick search here with Myers, because as I mentioned, Myers finished 5th in the spring event, so that had to be a good little points for him, and I'm going to look it up. There we go. So when Myers finished 5th, he's got 1,400 points.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So let me do some quick math here.
That puts him at 3,300 if he wins, right? I didn't realize he was that high.
Actually, he's got 1,400. So if he finishes, he's gonna no matter where he finishes now, he's gonna get 14 or more. So he has at least 2,800 points.
So he's
right
at
now.
least in second then.
Yeah. So he'll at least pass Shanahan if he finishes in 3rd or better, which he has a great chance of doing because he has the chip lead. He's going to take over the lead.
The chip lead and a set versus top pair. He might just get paid here again. Reeser could be in trouble. Myers slow plays the set. Hale checks behind, and I think Reeser will. Yeah, he's going to make a move here, and Myers is going to stack him.
Wow.
And so Myers is you can see the look on his face. He's doing a little bit of an acting job here, but I think he's just trying to figure out if he can get Hale in this pot also, who has yet to act behind him. But he checked, so he's got to think that Hale isn't that strong. Yeah, and will likely fold either way.
Yeah, there's nothing really you can do to get him to there.
Yeah, Myers is going to call, and Reeser's got to be. He knows. You can see by the look on his face, he knows he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's going to have to go runner here. His best card right now would be a 10 Jack of clubs. I'm sorry, not 10 Jack. He's got the 10 Jack Queen of clubs. That would give him a flush draw and a straight draw.
And that's not one of them.
Now he's drawn dead.
Yep. Myers is going to take another 1.4 million, and we're going to lose another player.
Wow,
Jake the Snake Reeser out of Davison, Michigan, his first MSPT cash. This will be his best career score, but he's going to exit in 5th place for $49,607.
And with that, jumping back into the Player of the Year, Myers is guaranteed at least 1,500 points now, which will move him into second place, just 67 points behind Heine, but
he needs to move up one more spot, and he's in first.
Right, and I mean, look at that chip lead. He's probably going to do it. Best case scenario, if Myers wins this, he'll have 1,900 points for the win to go along with his 1,400. Would put him at 3,300, which is less than 400 ahead of Heine. So it would be certainly a tight race.
Wow, impressive final table so far. He hasn't done anything wrong, but he's had the cards to back it up, and he's sending one after another to the rail.
Should be an interesting hand here. Delisle is going to raise it with ace-8 suited. It's going to fold around to Hale in the big blind. He's got a suited ace of his own, but the inferior kicker. He's going to take a flop. He wants to play hands with Delisle. All these guys do. They know he's kind of a wild card. He's willing to mix it up, and he could potentially give away a lot of chips. And so Hale is going to peel a flop, try to make a little something, obviously looking for some clubs, but little does he know he's got a kicker problem.
Yeah, Delisle already showed the table he's willing to fire multiple bullets with 4-3 offsuit.
And nothing there for either player. Looks like a continuation bet could get it done from Delisle. He's going to put it out. I certainly like Hale peeling a flop there and then getting away from it when you don't hit anything.
1,067 runners. We're down to 4. Brian Molesky, Chad Holloway here at the MSPT Michigan State Poker Championship Season 8. Here at FireKeepers, we started coming to FireKeepers back in 2013. I think we've had about 2 events every season. And of course, already a couple, we haven't posted the 2018 schedule yet, but we will be back here at FireKeepers 2 more times. Most likely similar dates, May and October. So looking forward to that. I'm sure that May one will be massive. Can we beat 1067, Chad? It'll be tough. I don't know where these players keep coming from, but they keep coming out here once you come here and play at FireKeepers, you see this beautiful hotel. They give these phenomenal rooms away for $99 a night, and they take good care of their poker players here. This brand new tap house right next door is perfect because you can it's like 20 feet from the poker room. Mm-hmm. Big, beautiful bar. You can go watch games on the big screen. The food is fantastic. I may have spent a few hours in there this week.
Yeah, watching some baseball
Each
playoffs.
day. Yeah, the baseball playoffs, of course.
Yeah, and I just love how the poker room here is so coordinated with the rest of the casino. And by that I mean they have it worked out with the food service that it just you go to the phone, you place your order, they ask you what table you're at, bring it right to you, and it's just it's amazing. It's great food. They have the cafe 24/7, which is open all night long, serves breakfast all day long. It's just as far as food options go, it's hard to beat what they offer here at FireKeepers.
Four to go. Jerry Delisle. Chris Myers, who's been well in control of his final table so far. Al Matawala. And Millard Hale.
Myers getting a walk. Doesn't get much easier than that.
There you see it. These 3 guys are going to have to do some work. Myers has all 3 of them out chipped combined.
So it's only hand 31, and we're already down to 4 players.
8 folds.
Well, it took us the longest ever to get to the final table, outside of the Venetian, of course.
Which is we do a 3rd day there just to accommodate for.
But they're making up for it here with some fast-paced play at the final table.
Raise the 250.
And Myers picking up King Jack suited, another great hand. He's got Delisle with the 7s on his right, He might be willing to put some pressure on Delisle here since Delisle is, of course, the second stack. And
5 calls.
oh, he's just going to call.
6 folds. That's it.
He's going to see a flop.
5 checks, 4 checks.
So Myers flops top pair. But he checks and can't get Delisle to fire. Now he's got trips. Check, check again. He's really slow playing. Now he's got quads. So I think he has to bet here.
It's actually
And that's
interesting.
actually, I was going to say, that's a huge card for Myers because Delisle probably thinks his 7s might be real strong now.
5 bets, 375.
I mean, I think Delisle has to call here.
He's gonna.
Yeah.
He does real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good bet by Myers, and can't blame Delisle for calling there. Nice job by Delisle to not lose more in that pot, to be honest with you.
375.
As you can see there, all these players guaranteed $65,110. And the winner will be crowned the 2017 Michigan State Poker Champion, which we run each October here at FireKeepers.
I have both, but I wasn't taking the
Myers sporting the Cavs jersey. Have to color them up here pretty soon. Bust out the 100K chips.
Well, those purple ones are 100K chips. He's got a nice little stack.
Looks like he
of them
needs
in
a
front
lot more of them.
Yeah.
250. 5 folds.
Well, they got Myers out of a pot, so this is an opportunity for one of the other players to make a move. Hale looks down at ace 5. Still sitting on 4 million here.
8 calls. What's up?
Another interesting flop here. Hale pairs bottom pair with top kicker. Delisle though with a flush draw.
275.
I think we'll see Hale make a call here.
Eight calls. Check, check.
Swing and a miss for both players. And
Now, all of a sudden, Hale has the best hand.
well, he had the best hand with 5s, but
Oh, yeah, my fault.
Yeah, he was-
Delisle had the
Better draw,
didn't
yeah.
get there.
check again, and Hale's going to take it. It'll be interesting now to see how Delisle reacts here. He's kind of losing some chips, losing these pots.
He plays with heart, though. I like a player who continues to fire. He's certainly aggressive in the right spots. 27 minutes left in this level. 6120, 20K ante.
Yeah, you can take it.
I don't think anybody's in the danger zone here. We're going to get a... Well, Motawala is certainly close. He's going to have to make a move here soon. Delisle and Hale, plenty of room. And, of course, Meyer with 100 bigs. What do you make of the NFL, Chad? Holy goodness. Every week, it's
Yeah,
like, what
it's-
just happened? The Giants go on the road. What are they? 0-5. They go on the road to Denver and beat Denver on Sunday night. The Dolphins down 17-0 on the road, come back, and I don't know what to make of your Dolphins, but come back, score 20 straight to beat Atlanta with Miami on the road. Aaron Rodgers out. My Vikings win today. The Saints, what have they won, like 3 in a row now? They put up 52 spot on the Lions today. It's unbelievable. Patriots squeak by the Jets. The Bears won a game. Adrian Peterson over to the Cardinals runs for 100 plus and a touchdown or something like that. I haven't been able to catch up. The Steelers, who looked awful last week, go on the road and beat the undefeated Chiefs at home.
Yep. Knock off the last remaining undefeated team.
Chargers come back and beat the Raiders late. I mean, you can't figure any of this stuff out.
Hale with big slick here. He's going to raise it. You say you usually take it, but Delisle might actually like these suited gappers. And he does. He's going to come in with a call, it looks like.
4 calls.
Myers, he's got chips, but I don't think he's going to splash around with a Jack 3 offsuit.
Jerry Delisle likes to play, folks.
Man, he's getting a good price. It's 130,000 into a
For
700,000 pop. It's just such a bad hand. He does have the chips though. He might put him in there, put that 130 in there, just hoping to hit a little something. You know, those occasional flops that come 3-3 or something, and that's what he does. It looks like Action Tracker got clicked to say that Myers folded, but he isn't. He's in his hand. It'll likely get backed up here. And there you hear MSPT Eric.
Gonna fix it for you real quick.
And we know what's on the flop there. Hale with the best of it by far. He's got top pair, top kicker, gut shot Broadway draw, and a runner diamond draw. Going to continuation bet.
That's a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
Chad.
he's going to win it.
All that comes down to him scooping this pot. Brian Molesky, Disco Chad Holloway, here at FireKeepers Casino, Battle Creek, Michigan. And we've gone from 10 down to 4 before our first break.
Yeah, it's pretty much unheard of.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we've seen so much action so fast.
But it doesn't mean that it's going to be over soon.
Oh yeah, we've actually no. I do remember when we've seen action so fast. It was MSPT Ho Chunk. We got down from 10 to heads up within 2 hours for sure, and then proceeded to play the longest heads up match in MSPT history.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could be in for a
Well, the reverse
long one
comes into
still.
play, right? So they all got to this final table very late in the day. It was very difficult to bust players out, so it was relatively short stack when we got here. And now you've got players like Myers with 100 big blinds, and
5 folds.
he's not going anywhere for a while anyways.
Yeah, he's not the type of player just to get it in with a coin flip or gamble. You know, he's going to be patient. You know, he's got the chip lead. He's just, as long as it takes him to win, he's going to go that distance. He's not going to be in a hurry, you know.
So he's at, is he still at 2,900 player of the year points? Is that what we said? He's got 17, 16,
He's guaranteed 15.
He's got 15.
He's
and
got
he had-
29.
He's got 29. So still technically second place. He needs to move up one more spot to take the lead.
So Delisle there had raised. Matawala with a king 3 suited jams. Gets it. And now Delisle he's giving away some chips. I mean, he's called to raise, saw the flop and had to fold.
That seems to be his style, though. He likes to play, and yeah, that's going to happen sometimes. But he also seems like he's capable of picking up some chips relatively quickly as well. If he happens to get cards at any point in time because he has that loose image, he will get paid off.
raises 275. Six folds.
Man, if these guys keep hustling, we're going to have time to get to the bar for some Kimosabi Mezcal margaritas.
I think you just jinxed us, though.
Oh, that always happens. By the way, we got a lot of events coming up here in November, folks. So get out to msptpoker.com. Next, we actually have 2 events the same weekend coming up, right? So the first weekend in November, we have the 300K guaranteed event at Meskwaki Casino in Tama, Iowa.
That's a main event.
That's a main event. That's a 1K main event. That same weekend, we have a $360 regional event at Golden Gates Casino in Black Hawk, Colorado.
Interesting fact, our prior regional event earlier this year at Black Hawk set the state record for most entries in a Colorado poker tournament, so breaking records all over the place.
We're on a roll. It's time to go solo.
And then right after, the weekend after, is the main event in Colorado, the Denver Poker Open.
Yeah, so November 3rd through November 5th is the 300K guaranteed event at Meskwaki Casino in Tama, Iowa. I think for 2 flights we had just shy of 500 runners there last time, 496. That's off the top of my head. Don't quote me on that. So always a great turnout there at Meskwaki Casino. And by the way, they run a big PLO game there as well, PLO cash game during MSPT week.
And cheap hotels, maybe the cheapest on tour. Yeah, quality hotel rooms, a very nice hotel, but they don't try to
Oh yeah, they want you
to
they want you to roll in. They always set aside a big block of rooms for MSPT players. They usually set aside. They have a 400 plus room hotel, and they usually give us 150 to 200 of those rooms between $39 and $79 a night, or $39.49 and $89, $39.79 and $89 or something like that.
Yeah, crazy cheap.
Yeah, awesome deal. Again, November 3rd through the 5th, we're in Iowa. November 9th through the 12th, we have a main event in Colorado, Black Hawk, Colorado, at Golden Gates Casino, the Denver Poker Open, MSPT Denver Poker Open.
I think we're going to see some action here. Pocket Rockets on the button for Hale.
And King Queen suited is huge for Delisle.
Yeah, that's not the sort of hand he's going to just toss.
No, he loves that, and let's see how he elects to play it here. Hale does have him covered almost 2-1. Yeah. Which I honestly, four-handed, coming in firing with King Queen clubs, I like the raise. Now, he doesn't know he's running into aces, but
here's where you're going to see, I think, an experienced player like Hale take advantage. He's not going to try to scare off Delisle. He's got these pocket aces. He's in position.
Yeah.
He's just going to flat here, I believe, and give Delisle a chance to hit part of the flop maybe and overplay his hand.
Yeah, you see Hale asked Eric, what we have here on the screen is unofficial, so they do actually have to count the stacks. But I agree with you, Hale should just call in position here and hope that Delisle fires the flop. He might even shove the flop if he hits a king or a queen. Or even if he doesn't. We've seen him fire 4-3 offsuit.
See, with Hale just calling here, the pot is going to swell to 1.5 million. Delisle just has a little bit more than that in his stack.
Yeah,
he's going to shove it. He calls it still.
He still gets the call. I don't like the shove. I would have liked to seen him slow play that a little bit more, but he's going to get the same result. He's going to get king queen to call, and he's going to be in great shape.
All right. There's a queen on the flop, so Delisle's got a piece of it.
He's got 5 outs.
Looking for another king or queen.
That's not one of them, but he did pick up... no, he did not. Sorry.
Needs some paint. King or queen on the river, or Delisle will be the fourth place finisher.
All of them live, and he does not get there. Man, this is unbelievable. Just like that, we're going to lose Jerry Delisle out of Hazel Park, Michigan, his first MSPT cash, but it's a good one. And he was fun to watch play. He kept the action moving. He's going to take home $65,110. Congratulations to Jerry Delisle.
I'll tell you who's really excited about that. Matawala just moved up $22,000 in real money by just not playing that hand at all.
Well, and clearly Jerry Delisle did not care about the money because he came in firing. He was even playing back out of position at Myers for a while.
As he said earlier in the tournament, he came to win, and he played that way. He wasn't afraid. You know, he was going to try to go for the W, but unfortunately comes up a few spots shy. But still, 4th place, good showing, and $65,000 is a nice consolation prize. So now, Myers and Hale, the 2 big stacks.
Well, it's a good thing we don't televise this on actual television because we might not have enough film, Chad, to get through an hour. There's been plenty of hands, but hey, props to these guys too. I mean, there hasn't been any stalling or tanking or anything like that. They've been keeping the game moving. That's good for the game.
3 decent hands here for 3-handed play. As the field whittles down, the more short-handed play you get to, the more your range has to open up. So a hand like Queen 9 looks decent. Ace Deuce suited certainly looks pretty, especially to the big stack. And now Matawala getting a good price to see a flop with his Queen 9 off.
And that's a huge pot for Hale, by the way, because it pulls him that much closer to actually being able to compete with Myers.
And here we go. First hand of 300 play. All 3 players going to the flop. And Matawala flops best. Hale was second pair. Myers with a backdoor flush draw. So check, check.
Chris Myers, Al Matawala,
And check. So
and Mill Hale are your final 3.
interesting card there. Hale, who had middle pair, picks up a flush draw. Matawala with the best of it, though, top pair. But it's going to be Myers here who's going to take a stab at it. He picks up a wheel draw. Tough spot for Matawala, sandwiched between the 2 big stacks. Doesn't have a heart redraw. He's just going to call it.
The one nice thing about Matawala's spot right now is he is the shortest stack, so he doesn't have to worry about ICM. He can just play.
And Hale folds.
He's supposed to go out third at this point.
Oh, wow. Myers hits his wheel on the river. Wow. Hits the gut shot wheel draw with a 3.
Now,
And,
if I'm in, I probably keep it light here, somewhere around no more than 400, 425.
I don't know. So part of me says go all in, put him to the test, let him see if, polarize your range. Either he's got it or he's bluffing. If he's got a queen, that's a tough spot to put him in.
I still like the 400 range because it leaves Matawala, and he is going to do that because it leaves Matawala with still $1 million, and he's probably more likely to make that call, knowing that he still has chips behind.
This is a really tough spot for Matawala, and he does call it off.
Yeah, he's still going to get the call.
Yeah, and
so Matawala's out, right?
Yeah, we're heads up already.
Holy
It's such a tough spot. I can't blame him. Myers had such a big chip lead. He could have been just representing he could have missed his straight draw. He could have missed his flush draw. There's so many hands that Matawala does beat, and you never see the backdoor wheel coming like that. The gut shot runner. It's just a tough spot and tough break for Matawala, but he is laddered up to third place.
Wow. So let's see. What time do we start this final table? So it's been less than an hour and a half. It's been an hour 25 minutes. We have dwindled from 10 down to 2. Wow, this is unbelievable.
But I'm going to knock on wood.
We've seen some massive.
These guys are plenty deep. Look at that. And these are 2 very experienced players.
They're playing 80 bigs deep.
Yeah, they're not gonna, get it in.
There you see Eric bringing out the state championship trophy and the gorgeous bottle of Kimosabi Mezcal.
We're gonna take a quick 5.
Yeah, can we take 5?
The clock doesn't stop. You guys leave. All right, we'll just. So when's the break? In 11 minutes?
Okay, that's fine.
We got time to keep.
Yep. We click.
And it sounds odd, but like these events go so late into the morning that we do have to keep these moving because they've got staff and stuff they've got to get out of here at some point.
Yeah, it's. I
we-
mean, when this tour started, the fields
Yeah.
were a lot smaller.
And these guys just got off prior to, just got off an hour dinner break. So.
Right. It's funny too. But, oh wow, pocket rockets for Myers in the first hand, a heads-up play.
Let's see how he decides to play this. He's on the button. I think he'll min raise here, and Hale probably will call to see a flop.
Yeah, King 7
And
suited
if he
is
hits any of it,
Raises 270.
more than worthy of seeing a flop heads up.
Hale has to lean way over to the right to get a look at his cards with that mountain of chips.
What if Hale sees a flop and it comes something like Ace of Hearts, something of Hearts, and King of Spades or something, and give him top set against Hale's top pair with a flush
Ace
draw?
9 of hearts with the king of clubs or something.
Let's see.
Oh wait,
Oh my goodness! Oh wow! Myers top set, Hale with the flush
the
draw.
nut flush draw.
This, I mean,
Well, I think Myers is going to slow play this here too, though.
I don't know. It's a really wet board. You know, the two hearts. There's some straight combinations with that 9-10.
I mean, if Myers bets here,
Oh my goodness! I'm
I mean,
on like the-
Hale's never folding.
No, I'm on the edge of my seat to see. So they're plenty deep where Hale can play this slow.
They're 80
and-
bigs deep average.
Right, and keep this pot on the smaller side of things. But if he goes for a raise here, check raise, this pot could certainly swell. Let's see what he does.
Those look like calling chips.
Yeah, I think we're playing as deep as they are.
So like the 10 of hearts might get crazy.
Well, now Hale picks up an open-ended straight draw.
Yeah.
He's like you see
He's
it up on
got
the top.
13 outs. He's never folding. I think Myers has to fire again here.
No sense of giving your opponent a free card on that sort of board. And if he does, oh wow, he does check
Oh,
behind.
wow.
I think if he bet that Hale would have just flatted again. Now Hale's going to check again, I believe.
I think this is going to go check.
Myers
Bet.
will bet, and he might get a call.
He might get a call now.
There's 1.3 million in there. Come out with like 475.
Yep.
And this is a great example. I think a lot of players might have seen these two hands and think, wow, how did they not get it in there?
Yeah.
Well, it's because they're so deep at this point. There's so many big blinds in their respective stacks that there's no sense of really.
What an exciting hand right out of the chute, heads up.
Yeah, for the first.
75,000.
Oh, he really brought it. He's going to make, that 875 looks bluffy. So it's not an easy laydown for Hale. He's like, why did he bet so much? Myers feeling extremely confident he's got the best hand, that he decides to make his bet look bluffy.
Right, and that's what he set up on the turn by checking behind.
Yep.
Knowing that
I
he's
agree.
likely going to fire out a bigger bet on the river in the hopes of getting paid, because it does just look that much
And
more
some
fishy.
and in prior hands, if Hale's been paying attention, Myers has traditionally bet out like your 300,000 to 400,000 in that same spot when he's had it. So this is a great spot here. I like this bet by Myers to try to make it look a little bluffy. Oh, he doesn't get the call, so a great read by Hale, but that was a fun first hand heads up here. 1,067 runners, just like that. We're down to 2 at FireKeepers Casino. Brian Molesky, Disco Chad Holloway. We are going to take a 10-minute break in 7 minutes. If at this pace, who knows? But you can see how many chips they have. I'd be shocked if we didn't get to the break in 7 minutes, but you never know.
I mean, after that first hand, if they keep with hands like that, it won't take too long.
Generally, it's like 4-3 versus 7-4. You know.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're back.
And it's the interesting hands, thing about heads-up play in the hands are, not only do they have to get the quality hands like they did last, in the first hands of heads-up play, then you actually have to connect with the flop, which they both did. And
Chris Myers, Millard Hale, battling for 191,000 up top. Both these guys guaranteed 118,000, 117, 818, as you see. It's a heck of a weekend.
yeah, and Chris Myers, going to be the leader of the MSPT Season 8 Kemosabe Player of the Year leaderboard. Whether he wins it or finishes second, he's going to take the lead from Keith Heine. But I'll tell you what, I know Keith isn't going to go down without a fight.
I was going to say, I'm sure there were a handful of people anti-sweating Myers throughout his run late in the day, but he's been pretty composed and playing great.
And he's really been composed from the final, pretty much 3 tables down. His chips didn't fluctuate much. If he got chips, he held on to them. And he slowly, steadily built until he had the chip lead coming into this final table. Just really impressed with Myers' play. And you know what? He's been here before. He made the final table back in the spring, so there's a certain level of confidence and comfort that comes with that. And he certainly showed it here. So Myers raised to 275. Hale called. Myers flops an open-ended straight draw. Hale flops a gut shot straight draw to the nuts.
That's 320.
5 would give him the best possible straight. And right now he's thinking to himself, did Myers really raise pre-flop and connect to that flop?
8 raises.
Oh, he's going to pop it.
Yeah, and I don't mind the raise. He's going to test the waters a little bit, and he's thinking to himself, well, if I get called, I at least have, I have outs to the nuts. So it's a good spot to test the waters when you have a backup plan. But I don't think he's going to shake Myers. Question is, does Myers just want to pay to see the next card, see if he makes that straight?
875K, that just 550 to call. That's like 3 chips in front of him. He's got a look at that. Look at those piles. That's nothing.
I think he's considering pushing back here. Kind of the same mentality that Hale had when he put in the raise there, thinking I can be aggressive, and if I don't take it down through the aggression, I have a lot of outs to fall back on.
Well, and it's nice when you're wrong, you still get 118,000. Straight cash, homie. He wants to make a move here.
Yeah, I'd like
Can
to
he
see
pull
him
the trigger?
Pump it up to $2 million. Pump it up to $2 million with the plan of not folding if you get shipped on. Instead he's
he
gonna.
does it. I love it. Wow. Nicely done by Myers.
What a great heads-up play, heads-up match so far. We're only 3 hands deep.
Hale hasn't been able to get much traction here yet against Myers, but what a strong play. We'll get 1 or 2 more hands in here before these guys go on break, but I don't want to miss any of these hands, Chad. This has been a lot of fun.
It's at the point now, too, where Myers has Hale covered, but if Hale doubles up just once, the stacks are even.
Right. Well, and these are 2 strong hands heads up here. I expect Hale to raise on the button, and it wouldn't shock me to see Myers re-raise to continue to put pressure on him.
Raise 275.
So Myers just going to call. Wow.
Bingo for Hale.
Yeah.
Flops his opponent dead. Now this is definitely a spot where you want to give your opponent a little rope, I would think. But he's going to bet it. I'm not a fan because what does your opponent have that he's going to continue with? There's certainly some hands that he would, but the chances that he actually holds one of them are so slim. But then again, who would ever expect somebody to lead out with the nuts? So
Flop a boat.
it's going to work. He's going to get paid the 225.
A club here would make things interesting.
Ooh, wow.
So Myers now with the nut club draw. Hale with the boat. And Hale, if Hale knew better, he might hope to let Myers get to that flush.
And he might think, wow, my opponent could possibly have a club in his hand. Let me try to get him there so he'll pay me off on the river.
Yep, I would check here and hope that Myers bets into me on the river or gets there.
He is going to bet it.
But there's, as you mentioned, you can't put a guy on a boat who keeps firing like that.
It's half the pot. Myers isn't getting the right price to chase the flush draw. He should be getting 4-1. He's getting 3-1 on it. But if he factors in thinking maybe his king or queen would be good if he pairs it, he does call. You better hope it's not another club, and it is.
Oh.
Wow. So there's two.
That's huge for Hale because he bloated this pot, and Myers stuck around to get there. This could get interesting now.
And Myers is first to act. You're sitting with a nut flush. This is like the fourth hand heads up play. This is insane. These hands that are happening.
Yeah, you're sitting there with the nut flush. You're probably going to bet out. So you stuck around and got there. I mean,
yeah, that's exactly what you were hoping for.
He may. I mean, he checks. Wow. So he senses something doesn't feel. Unless I can't. He's never going to go for a check raise here. So he's probably just going to check call, sensing something doesn't feel right.
See how much Hale's going to bet here. He's got the stone cold nuts. Oh, I'm sorry, actually a 3-4 of clubs would give a straight flush to an opponent. So not the stone cold nuts, but in his head it's just as good. There's no way Myers is folding. He's just going to call it.
Yeah.
Ace is full.
Well played on Myers' part. Obviously he lost it, but a lot of players lose a lot more chips in that spot.
All right, we're going to go on a 10-minute break. Your final two players here playing heads up for $191,000. Chris Myers of Buffalo, New York, and Millard Hale out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. This is Brian Molesky, Chad Holloway in the booth. Once again, FireKeepers Casino. We'll be back in 7 to 10 minutes.
Sorry. Hey, Ricky, you want this?
This is fun. We're actually kind of deep. Right? Went so fast.
20,000 in. 80 and 60.
All right, we're back here. Heads up, Brian Molesky, Chad Holloway. These two guys are playing for the 2017 Michigan State Poker Championship. And, of course, first place is $191,196. And both these guys have played fantastic and certainly deserve to be in the final two, Chad. And it's gone from 10 down to 2 in, 2 hours?
Yeah, I mean, we just took the first break.
43 hands in 2 hours. I mean, that's unbelievable. But Both these guys are very deep heads up, so this could go a little while longer.
Check. $350.
No, it's fine. Thanks.
So there you see it. Myers been running pretty pure here at this final table. 14 million. Hale with 7.7. He won a big pot prior to the break, though.
$350. $350.
Myers going to open to 350. Hale with king 4 clubs.
Call.
Going to make the call. We'll see a flop.
Check.
Wow, Hale flops the flush. He's going to check it to Myers.
Yeah, open-ended straight draw for Myers. Some big hands in this heads-up
Yeah.
match.
$375.
Hale considering his options on how to extract as many chips as possible from Myers' massive 14 million chip stack.
Raise.
He's going to check raise.
50.
Got one of the best Thomas back in the box there. All right, let's see the turn.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, another kick in the nuts for Myers, and he doesn't even know it.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second spot where we've seen this just right
Yeah.
before the break. Hale flops the joint. Myers has a draw and fills it. He thinks he's making the best possible hand that he can, and little does he know is it was drawn dead. This is going to be a interesting spot to see what Myers does here, because you don't want to just call right here, because you're giving your opponent a free card to if he does have a club.
50,000.
And it's such a big bet.
Yeah, Hale has traditionally bet big when he's got it.
Really wet board. He could be thinking his opponent has some sort of straight and flush draw combination. Wouldn't be surprised to see him set him in, actually.
I know, I was thinking the same thing. Looks like he wants to say all in. Looks like a call there, huh?
Yep, just going to call it.
Interesting.
Now
Well, that changes everything.
That's a great card for Myers in that it's going to save him some chips. And I think maybe that's why he just called, thinking if a club comes, I can get away with it without losing any more.
That changes things a little bit for Hale, too, because Myers could be sitting on an ace of clubs.
Anybody watching this hand and the other one where it was a similar situation are two great examples of how not to double up your opponent or lose a massive stack with decent hands, but not.
If Myers
nut
is sitting
hands.
on the ace of clubs here, Hale is out of chips.
Myers thinking to himself, would he really just jam it all in here with the ace of clubs? Why not try to get some value? Does he even have a club? That's what he's thinking right now. But yeah, it's just too tough a spot to call.
And we've got a close match here.
Yeah,
That should put Hale up close to 10 million. I guess we'll get a look in a second here. Again, our chip counts on the screen are unofficial.
Non-club river would have been much more interesting.
Yeah, so just $1 million separates these two players all of a sudden. That looks more like heads-up poker right there. Jack 2 and the 10-8.
Raise 350.
We haven't seen that often.
No, we have not. And with that, these two are essentially even. It looks like, according to the unofficial counts, just 150,000 separate these two guys. One more swiping of the blinds and antes, I think, will give Hale the chip lead, which would be the first time Myers would lose it at this final table.
Yeah, he has not yet relinquished the chip lead at this final table. It's been pretty smooth sailing.
And it looks like it's going to happen. Hale with ace-king.
Actually might be bad at texting. Hey.
Big favorite to win this hand.
Raise 350.
Chris Myers, his second MSPT cash. The first one was fifth place finish for $42,000 just in May. He's back now in the top two, guaranteed 118K. For Hale, this is his first MSPT cash. But Hale has well over 600K in earnings. This will put him now well over 7. Well over 700K, maybe even 800K.
And there it is. With that win, Hale takes over the chip lead. Myers loses it for the first time at this final table.
Once again, get out to msptpoker.com. Check out our upcoming events. As I started to get into, we go to Iowa the first week of November. Then we're off to Colorado for the Denver Poker Open. And then to Potawatomi Casino for the Wisconsin State Poker Championship.
It's always a good one, always a big one.
It should be a big fun event up there in Milwaukee. And then we end the season finale, in December at Canterbury Park
350.
in Shakopee, Minnesota.
Yep. Something
It's
tells
about
me
20 minutes outside of Minneapolis.
Something tells me we're going to see Myers there, as he's going to have those Player of the Year points, and every year that Player of the Year race comes down to that last stop.
Almost the final table every year.
Right. So Myers with the raise to 350. Hale calls it. I see some four-sided cards. There it is. 10-10 Myers. Flopping trips.
Myers got all of it. Most of it. Hale got none of it.
And he checks it, going for a little bit of a trap.
Yeah, it's interesting because Myers generally slow plays that spot when he hits something big, and Hale likes to fire away
Yeah,
and
keep the
sometimes
pressure on.
overbet it. Two different styles.
I think Myers is going to toss out a little bet here, and it's going to win. His opponent doesn't have anything. No draw or what have you, and yeah, it takes it down.
Yeah, unfortunately for Myers, Hale was way off on that flop. So we're going to move on to just hand 51. It is 12:31 a.m. here local time. We are Eastern time zone. FireKeepers Casino, Battle Creek, Michigan. That's the nice part about my drive back is I'll pick up an hour, Chad. So will you.
Little time zone difference. It got me the first time I ever came here. I drove over from Wisconsin, working for Poker News.
Yeah,
at the
because it
time.
doesn't feel East Coast here in Michigan, right?
And I didn't realize there was a time zone change, and so I lost an hour on the drive. And I had to be. Was driving up the day of the tournament. I had to cover here for you guys, but I was working with Poker News at the time, and so I'm like, oh, I gotta speed up a little bit because I didn't realize an hour ahead.
Raise to 950.
Chris Myers in the Cavaliers jersey. Millard Hale in the gray hoodie.
I like your sizing. You go with it.
Playing pretty deep here right now, so
Playing pretty deep, and we've been playing for a long time today. We've been going on 13 hours, 13 and a half hours.
and Myers back out front.
Came back today with 192 players, 108 of which got paid. Let me do a little research here. Scroll back in the live blog on msptpoker.com. I'm going to find out where these guys started in chips. I know all three day 1A chip leaders cashed, but they all busted. I think the best finish was 25th place, something like that.
I do have a question for you too. When you after you get done looking at that,
It's been a long day. I gotta scroll back quite a ways. And for those who don't know, we have the MSPT live blog that is up right now.
Okay.
Our guy Brandon is doing the live updates, so you
Yep.
can go on there, read what's happened in this tournament, what's happened at this final table, get all the details.
if you can't wait the 15-minute delay, you can probably find things more quickly out there. There was also a gentleman named Michael, and you follow this more closely than I do during the day, who started with 16,000 in chips, and I think made which is what, 3 bigs,
Yeah, so,
or maybe
I mean-
maybe 4 bigs to start day 2.
It's less.
Wasn't
than,
he in the final 20?
He I think he bubbled the final table and finished in 11th place.
11th place. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it was Brian Matalik.
that's who that was. Okay.
Yeah, 16-5, came back today, third shortest stack out of 192 players. Managed to spin it up and cash in 11th place for
just shy of $15,000.
yeah. And it was funny because his girlfriend, I assume it was his girlfriend or wife or what have you,
Yeah.
came up to us and said that he didn't even want to come back today
Yeah,
because he
wasn't
was
gonna
so
make the trip.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she talked to, she said, no, you've got to, you got to go play it. Anything can happen. And sure enough,
She was right.
Yeah, he did pretty well. So let's see. It looks like Millard Hale came back with 138,000.
Nice stack.
Yeah, which put him in the top 40-ish out of the 190 something coming back.
Okay.
And let's look up Myers.
Call.
Myers was a little even further behind, 110,000.
Okay, so probably
Top
110 is
50,
about
top
average.
60,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it was right about in an average stack. And that's usually how it goes. It's usually those people in the middle of the pack.
Yep.
Whoever can catch fire on day 2.
You've got to play well and run well to get through a field this size down to the final 2.
In fact, Brian Reinert, who was at this final table, he was the one who bagged the biggest stack out of the day 1A flights of our final table list. He bagged 285,500, which was the 5th biggest stacks.
I'm trying to think. I think we've had maybe one player ever go wire to wire. It doesn't happen often. When I say wire to wire, I mean bag the chip lead on day 1 and still go on to win. Hale here with kings, but he's going to have to hope Myers comes along and hits the flop. That's not going to happen.
See it there. Myers back into the chip lead. He only relinquished it for a little bit.
$350.
can hear in the background, there's still quite a bit of action in the poker room.
And out on the break, I took a stroll through the poker room. Plenty of cash games still going for a Sunday night. I guess technically Monday morning now.
Yep.
Bottom pair for Myers here. And nothing going for Hale. He checks it over. Continuation bet ought to get the job done.
That's 350.
And it does.
Myers creeping back up to 13 million. Getting some of those chips back. He was as high as, I think, 14 million. As you can see there, still extremely deep. We're playing at about 65 bigs average. Brian Molesky, Chad Holloway here at FireKeepers Casino, Battle Creek, Michigan, wrapping up a fantastic event. Big thanks, by the way, to the FireKeepers staff for a job well done.
Here's another thing I love about FireKeepers. I've praised it before. $1 massages.
Yeah.
Yeah, just they got a great massage staff, massage therapists. They do a great job, and it's only $1 a minute, and it's just I love it. I spend my massage.
You spend
whole
your
right
breaks.
here, yeah. I can't pay out of principle. I don't pay $2 a minute most places. By principle, I mean I'm too cheap and my bankroll. But yeah, $1 a minute, I'll splurge.
Okay.
Flush draw for Myers here. Checks it over to Hale.
Hale's going to fire.
Yep, Hale is the
With
pre-flop aggressor here. Just putting out that continuation bet, which we've seen both players do, I think, every time.
Yeah, and the couple of times Myers has chased the draw, he's gotten there and still lost. Hitting the straight draw and the flush draw the last two times.
Check.
Not the card Myers was hoping for, but it does give him a gut shot Broadway draw to a queen.
If Hale can fire again, he might likely take this pot.
Check.
Well, and Myers misses, so... But he's got the best hand with the 10-7. The only way he'll take it... Well,
He goes check. Myers wins it. Yeah, Hale's got to bet it, or he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's waving the white flag if he checks.
If Hale bets, he wins. If it goes check, Myers might be surprised to see his 10 high is good.
Check.
Hale concedes. 10 high is good.
And Hale's like, yeah, why didn't I bet it?
$15 minutes left in this level. Your final two, folks. Chris Myers, Millard Hale. Now,
Raise 350. Call.
Cards for Hale in this hand. The Kimosabi Mezcal Mystery Shot, as we have called it in the past. Myers, though, with a quality hand, Ace-Jack. We'll get the flop here in just a second. Seems like there's a bit of a delay. There it is, top pair for Myers. me take it down.
So we've got Hale, who enjoys playing basketball, and we've got Myers wearing a basketball jersey but enjoys taking cold showers for fun. Ace 5, 10, 5. 5 on the flop, and we'll see some fireworks.
2 5s on the flop, and we'll be going home. But we're not even going to get that far. Hale just gives it up.
Couldn't compete if he had Golden State on. I couldn't compete if he had Golden State on.
You can't compete now.
Still.
I told him I brought the tablet. To tell him to feed
Well,
him.
then, just take the Kimosabi now and go home.
Can we just end it now?
Got me scared. Says I can't win now. Try to fold my way.
I wonder if that dealer enters like beard competitions and such. You know, I see
It
those.
wouldn't be much of a competition because he'd win every
if he
time.
did, yeah.
I'm just like, how do you get to the point that you know that you can do it that well? Like, you have to, like,
You, have
You
to
can't
let, you, gotta,
invi-
you,
you
gotta
can't-
let, you just gotta let yourself go for a while.
yeah, you got to just not care for a while because, like, you can't envision that, right? Like, when you start, oh, I'm going to grow a beard and mustache, and then it turns into something just amazing. It's like art. It's too bad we can only get the side view here because that's an amazing beard and mustache.
So Myers back out to a near 2-1 chip lead. Hale closed the gap, even took over the chip lead just for a couple of hands.
It almost looks like he crimps that beard. Remember
I
those things?
imagine
Remember
there's
they
a-
still use the gals still use those too?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a whole plethora of.
Like back in junior high, you used to crimp your mullet, right?
I mean, there's got to be tools to keep
Maybe
a
you
beard
were-
that good, looking that good.
Yeah.
Beard oils and shears, and I don't even know. My beard just goes wild.
How is he not in like 82 beer commercials?
What's he doing dealing poker
Yeah.
at FireKeepers?
This guy should be
uh,
famous.
He's got to, you know,
Are there any movie producers
Yeah,
watching right now? Get this guy in a
if
movie.
there's a biker movie or a hipster movie, I feel like he should be.
Yeah, like
be in
Sons
there.
of Anarchy or something like that. Like, how is this guy not famous? Maybe this is his shot.
Raised 350.
This might go a little while, folks.
Check.
Hale with top pair.
$350.
He's gonna bet it, and I'm guessing he's gonna take it. Nothing there for Myers.
Fold.
Well, I'd just like to say that we are very thankful that Brandon Temple was able to make it through this week with the injury he sustained the first night in town.
That's right. Brandon Temple is brought on to help us out a bit. He does some live updates with me. He's out there right now doing the live updates for this final table. And when we got into town, he like you said, he sustained an injury. We went out to the bar,
Yep.
as we usually do before a tournament, and had some drinks, had some food, and decided to play some darts. But
It was his idea,
right, 'cause
to
he
play
went-
some
yeah,
darts
it
because he
was.
said he was amazing.
And it was a place, the bar was called Crickets, I think, or Cricket.
Yep.
And so, of course, we were playing cricket, and it was the old school steel tip darts, not the electronic stuff, and
Yeah, you have to manually keep score and do.
Yep.
I've never played that before
and
because we have technology now. Back where I'm from,
that's right. And he got hurt. He got
he may have taken a dart in the arm.
and it stuck. It was like he was like a junkie with a needle hanging out of his arm, except for it was a dart. And he didn't throw it. He was just kind of standing there.
Yeah, and he may have freaked out a little.
350.
Not in a bad way, just a scared way.
But he was okay, I think.
Yeah, he survived, and
No lockjaw.
Yeah, we didn't have to go get a tetanus shot or anything as of now that I'm aware of as of now.
He forgave the person who threw the dart.
I mean, he does cheat though.
Myers with an open ender here on the turn.
He probably had it coming.
Maybe, yeah. He did end up winning the game, so it was awfully suspicious.
Fortunately, he didn't take it in his throwing arm.
$725. $350.
Hale with an ace. Always looks good heads up. Raises to 350. Myers, though, with a pocket pair of fives.
All in.
And he's going to ship it.
Hale has too many chips to call off here with ace 3.
Millard Hale's thinking to himself, what's he just shipping with here? He can't have that strong of a hand. He's not doing this with aces, kings, queens. He wants action with hands like that. He's doing this with a hand that he doesn't necessarily want action with. And small pocket pairs certainly fit into that category. But so do hands like a king, queen, and two paint cards. I don't think he has quite strong enough of a hand to call, but I think that's probably what's going through his head.
I agree with everything you just said, and Myers is going to scoop it, and he's up to $15 million.
He's widening the gap, and 5 minutes left in this level before the blinds and antes go up.
Looks like the Dodgers won tonight, from what I understand, up 2-zip. A lot of Cub fans in this area because we're only, about 2 hours out of Chicago.
Yeah, we'll be passing through that neck of the woods tomorrow, or later tonight, or whatever you want to call later this morning.
Yeah. On the way home.
350.
Myers going to open to 350. He's going to get a fold and scoop another one.
It's also worth mentioning that the winner of this event will have their mug featured on the front, the cover of MSPT magazine. It's our monthly publication.
The November 1st issue. Yep.
You can actually read past issues online right now for free at msptpoker.com. On the right hand of your screen, there's a tab that says magazine, and you can just click it and read all the PDF formats. Or if you ever go to a casino property that hosts an MSPT, like FireKeepers, print copies are available.
For free.
Yep, for free.
And I know poker players like free.
Bingo for Myers again.
Okay.
Nothing for Miller to hail there. Except for a backdoor diamond draw, backdoor straight draw. Myers checks it over, gives some rope. Miller not going to bite. Ah, interesting card there. Gives Hale the diamond draw. Myers definitely going to bet it. It's a scary card. Puts too many... Ooh, no. I spoke too soon. I would have bet it. Got a vulnerable hand. You got to protect it a little bit.
So Hale feels like he senses weakness, so he's going to fire.
Now let's see if Myers kind of plays defense still, or if he switches gears, gets aggressive with it, protects it. We've seen him ship with pocket fives pre-flop not too long ago. Based upon what we've seen, I think he's just going to call. Similar spot to what we've seen not long ago when there were some clubs on the board. If he calls and another diamond hits, he can get away from it.
Raise 1.15.
But I'm way off base on this entire hand because everything I say is not happening. So
Is Hale considering making a move?
nope.
Wisely folds. On to hand number 65.
20 seconds left in this level. Looks like this will be the last hand of round 32. Let me do a little quick
Myers-
research here. Let's see when the last two MSPT Firekeepers finished up. Yeah, we had large fields, similar numbers, so let's see what level those ended in.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about the site we've put together. You can go back and see recaps, day 1A, 1B, 1C, whatever the case may be, day 2. Those blogs are kept forever, and you can go back and check them out anytime you'd like on msptpoker.com. And Chad's going back to our last event.
Yep, actually the last two. So the spring event and last year's Michigan State Poker Championship both ended in level 34, which is the blinds at 120,000 in the small, 240 in the big, with a 40,000 ante. So if history holds true, we've still got a few more levels of play here.
At least 40 minutes, right?
I think we're going to...
We'll see here in a
We're
second.
going to see in a second. We're going to go up after this hand, I believe.
It's probably the next level. I think we're in 33.
Yeah, this is the last hand of 32, I think I said. So, yep, you're right. course, nothing's saying it has to end there. It could end this level, this hand.
What's
or it
bar
could go-
time in the state?
That's a good question. I would imagine 2.
How do we not?
If it's like Wisconsin, it would be 2 o'clock.
that's what
but-
Minnesota is.
Yeah, but they would, they close down earlier. Casinos always give that, cutoff. So Hale here flops the better hand. It goes check, check. And then Hale check calls a bet of 350 there on the turn. But Myers, with the only diamond in his hand, is going to win it if it goes to showdown, and it's going to by the looks of it. Hale checks it. I think Myers is going to be content, and he's going to win it and extend that chip lead. Myers is from Buffalo, New York. I know he's a
100, 200.
fan of playing at Seneca, Niagara. I've been there once in my poker career. Nice property. But I'm not a fan of the Buffalo Bills, who did not win today.
Right.
They didn't lose either. It was their bye week.
I like the Buffalo Bills. I like a lot of their fans more so.
Yeah, a couple
They
of
like-
my
they
good
like
friends
to-
are
they like to
Buffalo
get-
Bills fans.
Yeah, they like to get a little crazy in parking lots, from what I understand. Pre-game, post-game, during the game. Aren't they kind of known out there in Buffalo for, which is kind of surprising based on the weather, for having relations in the parking lot on a consistent basis?
I mean,
I think that's
you
kind of
gotta
a
stay
thing. I think
warm.
I think there was just some more Twitter stuff floating around last week
Had a good time a few weeks ago. Myself,
in the Buffalo parking lot.
no, not
Oh,
the Buffalo parking lot.
in the Buffalo Wild Wings parking lot.
In the in the Lambeau Field. We actually,
yeah.
me and Brandon, our live reporter who's out there.
Oh, you
along
snuck up
with-
to a suite?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we went to it was the Thursday night football game with the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears. Myself, Brandon, we went with Rick Syverud, who's a MSPT regular. In fact, he holds the record now for most cashes without making a final table. And Ku Vang drove over there from Minnesota, MSPT champ. And
Ku Vang is an MSPT legend.
Mark Kroon, Poker Ho, he was up there. There was quite a few poker-related guys, and it was a fun game. The Packers won, but there was a lightning delay, and like you said, I took the opportunity to sneak into some suites.
During that lightning delay.
Yeah, because basically the
played.
whole stadium had to empty into the hallways, and it was kind of chaos, and where
Yeah.
there's chaos, there's opportunity. Like Littlefinger says in Game of Thrones, chaos is a ladder, so I just laddered up to the suites. And it was fun. Of course, I had quite a few drinks, quite a
Yeah.
few whiskeys in me to give me that courage, but football games are a lot of fun. I enjoy going to games.
And meanwhile, here on the felt, Myers has dwindled Hale down to 23 bigs. Got his stack, up around 17 million? Myers had a nice lead when we started heads-up play, but Hale made a great run and even took the chip lead, which was the first time Myers had relinquished the chip lead at this final table. But since then, it's been pretty much all Myers.
Raise.
Hale with plenty of room to work, though.
Call.
So Myers with the raise, Hale defends, and both players catch a piece of it. Hale with the best pair of queens.
I'm surprised, but Myers does check behind, and he's going to hit 2 pair on the turn. Hale, meanwhile, with top pair. This could get interesting. Hale is now down to 20 bigs. He might be a little more likely to risk it all.
That's 450.
Looks like Myers is going to raise here.
1.55.
Well, this might get interesting.
500,000.
Will Hale shove back over the top with top pair? Myers did check behind on the flop. Hale's got to try to piece this together. He did flop top pair, check to Myers, who checked behind. Myers turned two pair. Hale leads out 450,000 and Myers races to 1.6.
I won't be surprised to see him ship it here. That check on the flop.
All in.
Yeah. Myers is going to call.
Yeah, and Hale is going to need to hit one of his 8 outs, a queen, deuce, or 4 to counterfeit.
Yeah, so
A deuce would counterfeit it, and a queen or 4 would pair his hand. And
if
here it
Myers
is.
can fade it, he's the Michigan State poker champion.
He
And
does.
he fades it. So that's going to be it. And Myers
Wow.
pretty smooth sailing at this final table.
Yeah, Millard Hale gave him a run for his money, but ultimately the cards turned in Myers' favor, and after just 70 hands.
Yeah, it took us forever to get to this final table, but once we got here, it was action-packed. We're going to go out there now and get some pictures of our new Michigan State poker champion, Chris Myers. Congratulations to him. He's going to take home $191,196. And, congrats to Mill Hale as well, who's going to take home $117,818. Congratulations to both those guys. Those are huge scores. And thanks so much to Kimosabi Mezcal, our Player of the Year sponsor, in which, of course, Chris Myers is now up top of that Player of the Year leaderboard, correct? And thanks, of course, to FireKeepers Casino. What an awesome show they put on. The staff was phenomenal. We had a great time. The dealers were great, as always. And look forward to coming back here again in 2018. We will post that schedule soon. Thanks so much, everybody. Brian Molesky, Chad Holloway checking out. Congrats to Chris Myers, the 2017 Michigan State Poker Champion. Peace out.